Today you're going to learn how to shade forms with an ebony pencil. Today I'm going to go over the basics of shading forms. So I drew my circle, cast shadow, drew my ellipse, drew down, repeated that curve, drew like an A shape and got that the curve. And then what I'm going to do is make it look like there's a highlight coming slightly in the front of each one of these. So the light is coming from the top and the front. First thing that I suggest, I'm going to use an ebony pencil, is over your form, just put down a really soft coat with your ebony pencil, a very light gray. I'm going to go ahead and use a little tissue. I'm going to smooth that out. And okay, so that's our start. I'm going to go ahead and pull out where the highlight will be. All right, so now the next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to put just another coat down. I'm going to go kind of around that. And I'm going to create a kind of crescent moon shape around this. So put a little bit on the edge here and a little bit away from that highlight. I'm going to go ahead and put down another coat, just only on the side. I'm going to leave the top of the cylinder the way it is. And then on this one, again, a little bit away from that highlight, just a little bit on that edge. I'm going to put down another light coat, just a little bit darker. Now on this one, I'm going to create it like a crescent moon shape. I'm going to just get another coat, a little bit darker, not much. It's a little bit over from this one. I'm going to make that just a little bit darker to the edge, to the right side, because the light is coming from the top and from the left, so that's where the highlight will be. So I'm going to, again, kind of create a crescent moon shape, and what you're going to find is the shadows will take on the sides of the form. So this is going to be a little bit circular, this is going to be a little bit more stripy, and this will be a little bit more triangular. All right, so now on the edge, I'm going to darken this a little bit more. Again, trying to keep that more crescent moon shape. Darken that side a little bit more. Darken this side a little bit more. All right, so with a clean paper towel, watch how I smear this. Okay, with a clean paper towel, I'm going to go up and down with this one. And with a clean paper towel, going from light to dark always. So there I go. I have like my gray midtones. So let me clean that up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to just pull out a little bit of shadowing. I'm going to do this burnishing technique, a polishing technique. So I'm going to create that gradient look. Again, I'm going to use a clean paper towel. Smear light to dark. I'm going to use a clean paper towel after I polish this one in to eventually build up my values. This one is actually looking pretty good over here. Create that gradient look. And a clean paper towel after I get the edge a little bit darker on this one. I want to go light to dark. Okay. So If I see that I need to get a better transition, what I could do is grab a clean paper towel and smear in between. Kind of like this one right here. Grab a clean paper towel, smear in between. All right, so I'm gradually building up my values. I'm going to pull out the core. I'm going to leave a little bit of reflective light, so I'm going to polish that in. So I have my highlight, my mid-tone lights, my dark grays, all the way to the core shadow. And what will happen is this will create the reflective light right in there. Right in there. That'll just naturally happen. And the cast shadow on the ground, I recommend getting that really, 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 really dark. And angle that back because the light is slightly in front. Okay. So I'm pulling out that core. I'm going to gradually kind of softly build up some of those midtones back. Kind of work in a circular motion. I'm going to try to pull out some of those light grays. Oh, that's looking pretty good right there. I'm going to pull out the highlight a little bit more on the top. All right. So there you go with that. That's not bad. That's not bad. So I got some, could always go back in and do some little touch-ups, but for the demonstration that should work for you. All right, so now let's get this edging a little bit. Play around with that. Let me get those. Start working on the shadow side. I'm going to pull out that core shadow, the darkest part. The core is the darkest part of the form. I'm going to gradate out from that. Pull out that core a little bit more. It's going to naturally create that reflective light. And that's looking pretty good. Let me angle this. Get that cast shadow really dark. And that's a pretty good start. You want to keep the top of the cylinder pretty light. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow here. And there's still a little bit more touch-ups to do, but for now it's pretty good. I'm going to just put a little bit of a gradient around that core. So now I have my highlight, mid-tone lights, mid-tone darks, and the core reflective light and cast shadow that goes back into space. All right. Little trick for the cast shadows you could draw from those corners, like this one. This one's going to create like a triangular shape, and then this one's going to be more foreshortened. Okay. So I'm going to grab a clean paper towel, Just gonna polish in those light areas. I'll end up going back in and pulling out that highlight, just like I did here. So I'm going to get that shadow side just a bit darker. Kind of polish this in. Use a clean paper towel. Always smear light to dark. Now I'm going to pull out the core. Core should look kind of triangular. And leave that reflective light. Polish around the core. Then I'm going to go back into the core as well. Looks like I could pull out a little bit of in-between values here. So that little polishing technique. There we go. That's looking a little bit better. I'm going to just move that over a little bit. Some of those light grays again. Now I'm going to darken up my core again. So it takes a while to build these up. The shadows do kind of take on the side, so they're going to look very triangular, like the sides of the cone. It looks like a capital A. So now I'm pulling out the cast shadow. Definitely want to get that bottom to curve. So let's double check and pull out that highlight. So we have our highlights, we have our mid-tone lights, we have our mid-tone darks, we have our core shadows, so reflective light, and the shadow on the ground is the cast shadow. All right, so that's how you do some basic forms with shading techniques with an ebony pencil. All right, good luck with your drawing. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you learned a lot about shading. Do something amazing with your artwork and be a good person. Thank you again for joining me. Have a great day.